Okay, let's take some deep, just on your own, just some deep cleansing breaths just to bring us into the moment. So maybe just breathing in deeply and exhaling, just maybe 3 or 4. Now just spending a moment doing a very short scan of your body from the tip of your toes all the way up to the top of your head and back down again as you just notice any sensations that may seem either unusual or maybe tense or anxious. And just if you do notice anything like that, just breathe into it to really just allow yourself to not give it any strength, but you're breathing into it more to let it go so that you can start this meditation in a way that is cleansed. And if you're having trouble letting it go, that's okay. You're just remembering really not to get attached to it. Just to know it's simply there. And for these next few moments, we are not going to give it any energy because this is the time of year when we can get overly anxious. We can allow the hubbub, the speediness of the time of year, the stress of wanting to get it right, wanting to buy the right things, bake the right things, do the right things. We can get hung up in trying to please others because it just somehow feels like that's what we have to do. But instead, it's like any other time. We need to really slow ourselves down so we can look after ourselves. Because we know all too well that when we don't look after ourselves, we can't look after others. And so, if we allow ourselves to feel that stress and strain of this holiday season, we can only imagine that we are actually bringing that stress and strain to others with whom we spend the next little while. We don't even realize sometimes how much our inner anxiety is spilling out. It may actually seem like we are trying to be calm or we are trying to be happy and we have these big smiles. But underneath, there's that bubbling sensation of anxiety. And so we want to remember that our inner wisdom is able to help us with that. If we are feeling that anxiety arise, we can simply do something as easy as stop and drop. Stop what I'm doing, stop what I'm thinking, and just drop into my breath. I can stop and drop anywhere I am, whether I'm on the crowded transit, I'm in a crowded store, I'm waiting in line to pay. I can tap into my body and ask it, what is it telling me? And when I notice I'm feeling some strenuous or stressful feelings, tense muscles or rapid breathing or a headache or shoulder ache, I can stand in that line and just close my eyes and drop into my natural rhythm of breathing. And as I do that, I notice that my natural rhythm of breathing is enough to just calm me in that moment. Because my awareness is on the breath and not on the hubbub around me. And so when I find myself in those situations where there potentially could be some stress, and the truth is, none of us are immune to it, especially during this holiday season. We can stop and drop, or we can find a spot to just sit. And if you can, find a spot where you can sit and just observe. Observe what's going on around you. And you are likely going to observe people rushing, people pushing, people maybe saying and doing things that are coming out of stress and anxiety. And as you sit back, you can be intentional. I am not going to be that person. Instead, I'm going to purposefully slow myself down. I'm going to purposefully breathe. I'm going to intentionally speak with kindness and compassion. I may also sit in a spot, whether that be when I'm out and about or maybe in our own home, and I can visualize the beauty of this time of year. While we don't have snow right now, we might imagine sitting in the evening, looking at the glowing lights of the tree and any other candles or small lights that are around. I can visualize the beauty of the meaning of the tree, the beauty of the meaning of the lights. And maybe I can imagine looking outside to the darkness and seeing beautiful white snowflakes falling from the sky. And as they catch the light, we notice that shimmering, silvery quality. And we can imagine how beautiful the snow is when it falls and stays on the ground. Beautiful and white, not yet tread with any mud or footprints. this blanket of beautiful, shiny white snow that reflects the color of the lights on the tree, or maybe the color of the lights outside as people have their porches lit. Maybe there's trees outside. We can also imagine dressing really nice and warmly with our hats and our mitts and our winter coats and maybe our snow pants and a pair of boots as we walk outside to that beautiful white blanket. Maybe walking in the ravine and we see the snow crested on the trees, just sitting lightly on the branches. And we hear one foot in front of the other. As we step forward, we hear that soft crunching sound. We hear the crunching, but it's so peaceful. And maybe in this ravine, there's very few people around. And for us, we just feel that silence. Maybe now and again we stop and feel the snow just brushing on our cheeks. We might feel that sense of coldness, but it's not freezing. It's just cold and refreshing. And we continue to walk. And then we hear a rustling right beside us, and turn to see a tiny little animal just foraging in the snow for some leftover berry or nut. And after we've walked for a while, we realize that it's maybe time to retrace our steps, to go back to the warmth and beauty of our home. As we peel off those winter clothes, we feel a tiny little chill. And then we find our spot beside the Christmas tree, or maybe a fireplace. And we see a blanket, wrapping ourselves in that blanket as it warms us up after our walk. And again, we soak in the beauty of the lights. All the different colors, all the different ornaments, some of them that have such a strong meaning for us. And as we sit, we just let all of our anxiety, all of our stress just melt away, because we are sitting in beauty. We are in awe. And over this holiday season, we must look for awe wherever we can find it. Because when we feel awe inside of ourselves, when we are deeply in awe of something, we are not worrying. We are not ruminating. We are in that beautiful, pleasant, present moment. And so we can actually do the things that I've just suggested, or we can sit in silence and just bring them to our awareness. And so for the next few moments, we'll sit in silence and just see what comes up until you hear my voice again. May our hearts be open. May our hearts find peace so that we may extend our peace to others in the world. May we all find and give love.